If you've ever tried to secure private money for a real estate deal, you know the frustration. You submit your project plan, your numbers, and your personal info, and then you wait. Sometimes weeks go by with nothing. Other times you get a blunt no, and you're left wondering what went wrong. The truth is, private lenders evaluate deals very differently than banks, and understanding how they think can make the difference between getting funded or being shut out entirely. Here's the reality. Private lenders are looking for fundability, not perfection. They don't care if your deal would pass a bank's checklist or whether your credit score is immaculate. What they care about is whether the deal is structured in a way that makes sense financially, whether the borrower is capable of executing it, whether there's real commitment, and whether the exit plan is clear and achievable. Banks look for compliance. Private lenders look for confidence, and they want to see it before they ever hand over a dollar. Let's break down what that really means. The first thing a private lender looks at is the deal itself. They want to see that the numbers make sense, that the purchase price isn't inflated, and that the projected value after improvements is realistic. They examine rehab costs, holding costs, and potential profit margins. They're trying to see if the deal can actually succeed on its own merits, without having to rely on hope or luck. A property might look perfect in pictures, but if the math doesn't hold up, the deal will never get approved. Next, they look at the borrower. Who you are matters. Lenders want to know that you have the experience, the discipline, and the knowledge to execute the project successfully. They want to see a track record of completed projects, or at the very least, a professional approach that shows you understand the risks and the work required. Even a deal that looks perfect on paper can fail if the lender doubts your ability to deliver. Conversely, a strong, motivated borrower can sometimes get funding on a project that a bank would reject because the numbers alone aren't perfect. Equity matters too, and this isn't just about cash. Lenders want to see that you have skin in the game, that you're invested financially or operationally, and that your incentives are aligned with theirs. If you're putting time, sweat, or your own money into the project, the lender sees that as a signal that you're serious, that you'll stick with the deal when challenges arise, and that you share in the risk. Deals where the borrower has no real commitment rarely get funded because the lender is effectively the only one taking risk. Then there's the exit. Lenders want to know how the loan will be repaid. Will it be a refinance, a sale, rental cash flow? They're not interested in aspirational plans. They want a clear, actionable strategy that makes sense for the property and the market. A borrower who can articulate a realistic exit plan shows the lender that they've thought through the deal from start to finish, and that repayment is likely. The final piece is how the lender sees potential problems being handled. They're looking for reassurance that the project can weather delays, cost overruns, or market fluctuations. They want to see that contingencies are in place and that the borrower is prepared to adapt. A deal that's fragile or overly reliant on ideal conditions is a deal that's unlikely to be funded. I've seen this play out countless times. One investor came to us with a property that had been rejected by a bank because the appraised value was slightly optimistic and the borrower was relatively new. By showing a clear exit plan, meaningful equity, and a track record of personal commitment, we were able to fund it quickly. On the other hand, I've seen deals with experienced borrowers and seemingly perfect numbers get red flagged because the scope of work was incomplete, the budget lacked contingencies, and the borrower hadn't demonstrated real commitment. The numbers alone don't win the deal. The narrative, the preparation, and the alignment matter just as much. The lesson here is simple. If you want private money, you have to understand the lender's mindset. It's not magic, and it's not arbitrary. It's about presenting a deal that makes sense on its own, demonstrating that you can execute it, showing that you're committed, and laying out a clear, realistic exit. When you do that, deals that might never get bank approval become fundable, and you can move faster, scale smarter, and close with confidence. At Phoenix Funded, we help investors do exactly that. We walk through each deal with them, assess the numbers, verify the exit strategy, and structure the presentation so lenders can clearly see why funding is a smart decision. If you want to know whether your next deal is fundable and how a private lender will evaluate it, submit your scenario. We'll review it using the same framework lenders use, highlight strengths, identify potential red flags, and show you how to position it for approval. Because in private lending, fundability isn't about perfection. It's about preparation, credibility, and alignment. The better you understand this, the faster you get green-lighted, the smoother your deals go, and the more consistently you can scale your investing business. Submit your deal now and see exactly how private lenders will evaluate it and how you can turn a maybe into a definite yes.